Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be talking about an album from one of my favorite bands. And this album, it's kind of gets a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, some people like it and some people hate it, and some people are kind of a little bit in the middle or torn between the two. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be talking about Cryptic Writings by Megadeth, the band's seventh album released in 1997 through Capitol Records. Now, this album, of course, follows up their previous album, Euthanasia. And with Euthanasia, I feel like Megadeth kind of changed up their style musically, where they're not just going all out thrashy. I mean, they started a little bit, even going from Countdown to Extinction, there has some different stuff. But I feel like Euthanasia, they changed up a little bit. But I feel like Cryptic Writings, they've changed up a little bit more. And I feel like this album, and this direction kind of sounds a little bit more commercial sounding, and just in the production and the shorter songs on here, I feel like this is like the direction that Megadeth had wanted. um just talk production wise, I think it's pretty solid. I'll give it that. Let's just talk about like the vocals from Dave Mustaine. I feel like the anger in his vocals are kind of gone, and I don't know. No, but I still think he does a great job. And just same thing with the guitar playing from Mustaine, and of course Marty Friedman, my all-time favorite guitarist. I just think both of them come up with some really great leads, and just like their guitar tone in general is great. And bass wise, well, David Ellefson. And before we get into this, I just want to put out a disclaimer. Yes, I'm aware of all the shit that's going on with David Ellefson right now, with him, that whole grooming shit. We're not going to talk about it, and I don't want to see any comments about it, because I know about it. I just want to put it out there. But I'm not talking about him as a person. We're going to talk about his bass playing. But anyway, just had to get that out there. Bass wise, his bass playing is really audible. I feel like David Ellefson's bass playing really just complements Dave and Marty's guitar playing. And I honestly think the bass in general has like an emphasis on both melody and rhythm, because you're trying to like linking in with what the guitars are doing a lot with the melody and with what the drums are doing with the rhythm. And drumming wise, Nick Menza, may he rest in peace, my all-time favorite drummer, and so this is the last album with the Rest in Peace lineup, which is kind of the sad that they would never make an album ever again. And yeah, I just think Nick Menza does a really great job on here. So let's just dive right into this album track by track. Now, we started off with Trust, which I think is a great way to start the album with. It, of course, starts off with Nick Menza with a great drum beat, and then there's a little bass riff that comes in, and the guitars come in, and it builds up and it builds up, and it just goes into a really great riff. And then the second chorus, the song kind of slows down with a little small acoustic riff, and then it just explodes again into a solo. And Marty Friedman's solo just goes really well with this song. And I just think it's a great, really awesome way to start off this album. And then we go into Almost Honest, which is the next song. And this song starts off with a little bit of noise, which kind of sounds a little bit annoying, but then the riff starts, and I think this song just sounds really commercial sounding. And the riffs in this are definitely fresh, but they are good riffs. And the choruses are pretty much very melodic, and it also has a little bit of like poppy influence to it. And then it goes into another acoustic riff, and then a solo, and just Marty just showcase what he can do. And this song just finishes again with the chorus. And overall, it's a really good song. Next up is Use the Man. Now, this song kind of sounds a little bit like Almost Honest in a way, and it has some acoustic riffs in there, but this song is pretty good, but just not thrash. Next up is Mastermind. Now, I love this song, and it's pretty much one of the best songs off this album. It starts off with a killer bass line and the guitar riff, which is even better, and it's just a great riff. And then Dave's voice might sound very irritating for people that don't like his growling in the song, and he does a lot of like growling. And the chorus is really good, as he kind of like shouts Masterminds and sings. And this song also has another great solo from Marty, and it doesn't lose up its momentum at all. It ends strong, it starts strong, everything. Great song. Then we move on to the Disintegrators. Now, this is another awesome song, and I can also hear something a little bit of like Rest in Peace, which very much reminds me of. But it starts off with a riff, and then it just bursts into another verse, and the guitars are fast, and just some singing fast, drums fast. Everything about the song is so fucking fast. So it's pretty fairly short, but it just sticks to thrash. And this is only the small hints of thrash on Cryptic writings, and this song doesn't let up at all. It stays strong throughout all the way. And next up, we get into "I'll Get Even," and I really love like the intro to this song. It's very calm and cool, and then Mustaine starts to sing, and this song isn't even thrash at all, but just straight up heavy metal. And it's also has a lot more melodicness to it, and I really like Mustaine singing on this song. That's really superb. And then after the solo, you get a nice heavy riff and some really great headbanging. And this song kind of like follows in the same pattern of any other song with having just one solo. Well, and I really wish they could add more. It's kind of similar to like Hangar 18. Hey, but will we get any? Well, let's just find out. Next up is Sin. Now, Sin is just purely rock, and this riff is rock because everything is rock, and I don't really see any metal at all in this song. And you'll pretty much have like the intro, or like the rest of it, and I feel like it just loses its own momentum at the end. But I just couldn't stand listening to it like over and over. It's not like a song I would just go back to listen to, if you ask me. Moving on to A Secret Place. Now, the highlight, like the intro riff and this is pretty much, honestly, yeah, that's really the only thing I could say. And this is a song that will only be skipped if you don't like it, like especially the intro run. And this is a thrashy song, and the solo here is pretty short, just like most of the other songs. And this just sounds good and all, but I feel like it lacks a certain vibe. Have Cool Will Travel. Well, now the riff in here, the intro riff doesn't sound really good, and Mustaine kind of like uses it over and over until the chorus. And the chorus itself is really good. It's very nice and melodic, but this song is not thrash at all. It's kind of like a filler song, but otherwise it is not really that good. And then we get things. I get surprised with the next song called She Wolf. And this song sounds really thrashy with a great riff. And then when the chorus starts, it just sounds very melodic. And this song is very nice, and it keeps a really good pace. And the end solo to the song is just wow. Great song. Next up is Vortex. Now, this song, I kind of like the intro riff, but then the song just gets really just boring. It just follows the same pattern of writing as the other songs. It just seems like another song to me. And then we close with FFF, which stands for Fight for Freedom. And the intro to the song just sounds like punk, and it stays that way until like Nick Menza pounds away in the drums, and then sort of like double bass comes in, but just only for a few seconds. And to me, I think it's a bad way to end this album. Now, overall, Cryptic Writings by Megadeth is a solid album. But I just feel like they're going with a little bit commercial, but I think they would just take it even further with the next album, Risk, which, if you see my review of that, ugh. So yeah, if I were to give this album a score, I would probably give Cryptic Writings by Megadeth a 7 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.